Hello, everyone. This is Howard Fox, and welcome back for another episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series, the podcast that celebrates individuals and families, businesses, and organizations that seek out and promote the exploration, stewardship, conservation, access, and enjoyment of the outdoors. Scott Dahl is our guest today. Scott is the director at Visit Springfield, Illinois. Scott is a travel industry professional with 37 years in tourism, lodging, and association leadership. Scott, it's great to see you again. Welcome to the podcast.
Howard, thank you for the invite. Appreciate it.
Fantastic. And for our listeners, I had the great pleasure of meeting Scott. It seems like such a long time ago, back in like October-ish. I was down in Danville, Illinois for the Illinois Destination Association's member meeting, and I had a chance to present, and Scott was in the audience, and when I was presenting, he was keeping me on my toes with some really good questions and make sure I knew what I was talking about. But no, in all jesting, Scott, it's great to see you. And how are you doing in Springfield, Illinois?
Well, Howard, thanks again. And it was great having you at Illinois Destinations Association. You gave a really solid presentation, a lot of good information. So thank you for that. It legendary here in Springfield. We're looking at our fifth out of 6 consecutive years of record tourism numbers. We've had an amazing 2025. Looks like we're about 15,000 hotel room nights ahead of 24. And looks like we anticipate surpassing the record traveler expenditures of $601 million in 2023. Heading into a year that we know is going to be even more legendary because of all the events that are happening next year.
Oh, yeah. And it's just, and as I look back as a former resident of Chicago, and I know how easy it was to get to Springfield, so I kicked myself in the butt for not getting down there. But between the library and this special, well, a couple special events, but one in particular that are happening, and I would imagine you're really looking forward to 2026 and all the things that are going to be happening in the community and in the surrounding area.
Yeah, well, we welcome over 1 million travelers a year, certainly day trippers, and it is easy, a day trip, spending the nights, combining Abraham Lincoln and Route 66. And Howard, you're exactly right. 2026 being the 100th anniversary of Route 66, America 250 is what we're opening the $75 million Shield Sports Park to the outside in the spring of 2026. And we can't forget the FIFA World Cup. North America is hosting the World Cup in 2026, and Chicago, Illinois will be a gateway, and they'll move down through Route 66 to their matches across the country. And we're just so excited to welcome what we believe will be a record international travelers for all of those events. So yeah, exciting times ahead.
Excellent. And I'm struck that, where Springfield is located in, would you call it like central Illinois? Would that be accurate, or is it a little farther south, east, west? How would you describe its location in the state?
Yeah, the Springfield, Illinois is central Illinois. We're what we call the heart of Illinois, Route 66, right in the middle of the state.
Yeah. Okay. Now, so you have folks coming in from, say, within like the Chicagoland area, Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri, but you also said something very interesting. You used the word international a minute ago, and I would imagine a city like Springfield, with its history, not only Route 66, Lincoln, but its impact on the country, and as it was growing, you get a lot of international visitors as well, I would imagine.
We absolutely do. Our visitor center located inside the Lincoln Herndon law offices where Lincoln practiced law. The past few years, we've seen travelers from 75 different countries stopping by the visitor center every single year. And those are just the travelers that are stopping by. We know there's more international travelers that are coming for Abraham Lincoln, for the Presidential Museum and Library, to pay respects at his tomb, to visit the only home he ever owned, right? but also the Route 66 as well. We feel like internationals, especially from Germany and UK, are coming here for Route 66. Obviously, taking in all of the world class Lincoln historic sites, but we know of Route 66. But that's a number of people don't think about, even locally, Howard. I think they're surprised that we welcome travelers from 75 different countries every year.
Yeah. Now, when visitors come into Springfield and take advantage of the history, the outdoor experiences, because as a outdoor adventure series, it's not lost on me how beautiful Illinois is. Even as you get away from Lake Michigan, you get away from the city of Chicago. The open land and the rivers and the parklands, the state parks. There's a lot of outdoor experiences also to be had within a short distance of, say, Springfield.
Yeah, absolutely. And our historic sites are outdoors as well, like the old state capitol that just went through a multi-million dollar renovation. It looks amazing. It's
Right there.
modern. Yes, exactly. Right there. And the grounds look amazing. So we've got that, obviously the Lincoln Home in the neighborhood. You walk around the neighborhood and so you got there, and then of course Lincoln Tomb. But we have more than that. We have Lincoln Memorial Garden that's got 6.5 miles of trails right
Mhm.
on Lake Springfield. It's really well done, and the Park District does such an amazing job with Lincoln Memorial Gardens. But we have Southwind Park as well, and so again, we have plenty of parks and trails. The Sangamon Valley Bike Trail that I've logged personally over 10,000 miles on.
Oh,
I'm on
wow.
almost every single day. It's a 20-mile stretch north to south, and it's amazing. I love it. It's kind of where I have my solitude, and so I'm on it almost every day. And so if a visitor comes in and they jump on the Sangamon Valley Trail, they'll likely see me on there in the morning.
I love that. And now I forgot to ask you, how cold is it right now in Springfield?
Well, it was -20 a couple days ago, wind chill, but it's it's actually getting warmer. We're expecting some 50s this week, and we've had some major snow. It feels like the 70s and 80s at this point. Not degrees. I'm talking decades. We've had real winters, but no. But listen, it's a good time anytime. Nice thing about the wintertime when you're visiting is that the crowds are down, so
Right.
get in and out quicker, and so it's always nice.
I love that. And I was thinking as you were sharing about the biking, I mean, I spend a lot of my time in front of the computer. I have to really work like in Las Vegas, we've got hiking trails all around and some great nature preserves. But I love the fact you're in the town. There is bike trails, running trails all around you, and you cannot help but just need or want, desire to get off that desk, and away from that computer, or just go enjoy Mother Nature. And I love the fact you're kind of doing it every day. Now, are you on a mountain bike or a road bike? You look like a road bike kind of guy.
I'm not a road bike. I'm more of a mountain bike guy, so I'll go
Okay.
that.
Okay.
And I typically run, so
Oh,
I
okay.
I run about 4 days a week, and a lot of those miles are have been logged running. But
Okay.
certainly, I'll jump on my mountain bike, and
Okay.
I have a buddy of mine. I get on the trail, and he always makes fun of me because I don't wear a helmet. And all of our listeners out there should wear helmets. Don't
Wear a
fall.
helmet. Don't be like Scott.
Don't be like
So,
me.
do you run marathons?
So I did for many years, along just north of 75 marathon finishes in my 30s and 40s. And
Okay.
as I get older, now I just do Forrest Gump miles.
For
I log about 1,500 miles a year, just on my own in the
okay.
morning generally.
Okay.
So, but yes, for a number of years, I ran marathons across the country,
All
and it
right.
was a really fun time. I'll tell you.
I imagine when I lived in Chicago, I lived on the last mile of the Chicago Marathon.
Oh,
That was fun.
that had to be fun. I know exactly where that's at, and, I have hurt on that last mile, I'll tell you that before. I also paced it a couple times, so we had a pace group that we would guarantee they would come in on time, and that was always fun. And to have 10,000 people behind you, following you with a stick in your hand there's nothing like it, in the Chicago Marathon is just so amazing.
Definitely world class, world class. So how long have you been in the Springfield area? And I know you've got the depth of experience in tourism, lodging, association work, but as the director of the Visit Springfield, Illinois, how long have you been in this role, and how has it changed for you and even for the city of Springfield since you have been around?
Yeah, so I've been in Springfield, Illinois about 30 years.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, I spent 10 years before that managing hotels, mainly for Equity Hotel Corporation, and then moved to Springfield, was running a property here, and an opportunity came up with the Illinois Hotel Lodging Association for a statewide membership director. And I took that role and assumed it for 16 years. And then in 2018, the mayor of Springfield asked me to be the tourism director. And it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. And so I've been at the helm of Visit Springfield for the past 7 years.
Oh, wow. One thing I have to share in interviewing the many destinations that I have had, and I would also include the chambers of commerce, but especially the destinations. You all have the best job, I have to say, is you get to help people, inspire people, market to people to come and visit our community. You're like the roving ambassador in addition to the citizens in the city, but just to make, help make people's lives and experiences so memorable is it's got to be a phenomenal role just to be a part of an organization like a Visit Springfield.
It absolutely is. And one of the things I love about being a tourism professional and in the travel industry is that when we see people, they're happy. They're always happy to be here and happy to have new experiences. And it's fun to help them with that. We rarely feel any complaints. It's just everybody's on vacation. They're excited about it. And so that's one of the things I love about travel and tourism is that generally people are in a good mood and we get to help them have a legendary experience.
Excellent. And I love the fact that you said the legendary because I keep thinking Lincoln, Route 66, the outdoor experiences. And I imagine the Springfield is probably some really good restaurants and some bars, shall I say, some really iconic Midwestern food that's available.
No, absolutely. And our tagline is always legendary. And so when people see us wearing always legendary shirts, sometimes they think we're talking about ourselves. We're really talking about our city. And that's a tagline I think is really appropriate for Springfield with all the history and the culture that we have here. That's organic. It's not anything we created. It's history. It's living history, if you will. And that goes back to our History Comes Alive program that starts the first weekend in June and runs through the state fair, 10 weeks. And we bring history back to life, and we have reenactors, and we have Abe and Mary and General Grant, and everybody's here, and there's programming, and it's really a special time for us here. But again, that's all organic. The history here is in the books, and
Right.
so we're retelling it, but we're not creating it.
Right.
It happened, and it
It's
happened
already
here.
there. Okay.
And that's one of the cool things. That's what I always say to people about some of the spaces may have changed, but the locations have not. And the streets that you're walking on aren't the same, but the same streets that Lincoln traveled and the spaces we're in, where our visitor centers inside the Lincoln Herndon Labs is where Lincoln practiced law. And I still go to the space where Lincoln had his lofts, and it gives me goosebumps. I
Yeah.
just, it's the same space. It's the same place he was at. Now it looks different, but it's the place that he was at. And that's special.
I remember many years ago, I was in the UK. I was up in Wales at a castle called Carnarvon. And this is where the Prince of Wales is invested with that title. And I remember I had my hand on the railing or I don't know what the stonework was. And just that feeling that I'm touching history. And I imagine, like you've just shared in the law office, you're walking up the stairs, that piece of wood, the railing, and you can imagine Abraham Lincoln as he is walking up the stairs, assuming he had to walk up the stairs, that his hand was touching that very same spot. And that is an amazing goosebump enhancing feeling. I definitely can appreciate that.
And there are still original finishes inside the Lincoln Hardware offices. And I must say right now they're closed for renovation. We're expected to be open by spring of 2026.
Okay.
Again, they need new mechanicals. They need the building upgraded a little bit, but a lot of those finishes, those original finishes will not be touched. And so you're exactly right, Howard. It is very cool to see that. And then that building behind us, the old state capitol, I mean, that's where Lincoln delivered his House Divided speech. Every time I walk in there, I think about that. And I think about, this is the location Lincoln did this. This wasn't made up. It's not recreated. This is the space. And I think that's why we see over 1 million visitors a year.
I love it. And I think I'm definitely going to have to make it a point of getting to Springfield and taking care of a location I should have visited when I spent all those years up in Chicago. We just get so wrapped up in our work. It's like a couple hours away by train, and there it was. I love that. I am curious now with these major events that are coming up and the one that goes on year after year with Abraham Lincoln and the history there, but with Route 66, America 250, FIFA, how are you preparing and how is your team preparing for these additional influx of tourism and visitors into Springfield? How are those preparations going? And actually, when did you all start it?
Well, good questions. We started thinking about the Route 66 Centennial in 2018. I came on board in August and we immediately started talking about Route 66. My tourism manager at the time, Jeff Berg, was all about Route 66. And the more we started talking about it, the more we started looking at the Centennial some 8 years away and saying, we need to start now. We need to start planning now. We didn't know it would come so quickly. Just a couple months after I was appointed as director, the Sunrise Donut sign, a very famous sign here in town, neon sign in town, went up for auction, and it appeared it was going to leave town. And the city of Springfield stepped in, and we purchased the sign, won the auction for both sides. It was a two-sided sign. And we paid $20,000 for the sign. A sign company, which has been a tremendous partner for us, refurbished the sign gratis, and we kept it here. But the interesting thing about that is the community wasn't recognizing Route 66. They knew about our International Route 66 Mother Road Festival, which will be in its 25th year in 2026. And they really kind of left it at that. And there were calls for my resignation because we spent $20,000 on a 70-year-old sign. And we came out and discussed about how the Centennial was 8 years away and how we were building. We need to keep our assets in town. And today you'll hear people say, thank goodness we kept that sign and the city bought it, because they're understanding what this 100th anniversary means for Route 66. And so we have been defining our assets, reopening sites and attractions that had been shuttered, like Shay's gas station that had been closed for 10 years. The grounds are now reopened, and thank goodness to the state of Illinois and the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. They've provided millions of dollars in state grants for Route 66, and we could not have done it without them. So we have been building our assets, defining what the traveler should stop by. We have a lot of those that are already there, like Cozy Dog, for example, the original hot dog on a stick, and the Made Right, the first drive-through in America. I mean, those are still here. And so we just built upon those. But we've been looking at 26, scheduling events and co-branding with existing events. And we'll have that calendar out very shortly on visitspringfieldillinois.com and on our social media. But we have been talking to our partners about the influx of especially international travelers, but we know that domestically there's going to be a heavy road trip year with America 250 for U.S. travelers. And we've been talking to our partners, our historic sites, our restaurants, certainly our hotels, about this is the year, and this is the year that we need to prepare for that. We've been talking to the city of Springfield about park feed and other things that you think about with this influx that we're
Right.
expecting. And
Excellent.
so conversation has been ongoing for, well, the past 8 years, but really, about the dynamics of it and really how we're going to go about that the last really 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
And it all comes to 26. I think we're going to be ready. Um, it's interesting. We have the Shield Sports Park also opening up in 26. We weren't quite anticipating that. We thought it might be open before that and we'd have a year to ramp up. So that's going to be even more interesting because sports tourism will be in town and then we'll have this influx of leisure travel. So we'll have sports tourism and leisure travel that will be records kind of meeting in the middle. And so, yeah, it's scary, but fun to think about, right? That
But I would imagine not only the businesses, but the residents of Springfield have got to be on pins and needles, just this anticipation, because they are your feet on the ground, roving ambassadors for everything that Springfield has to offer.
And we have been talking about the Centennial for so many years now. It has resonated. We're seeing more of our community go to Route 66, start creating 66 themes, tying into 66, whatever that may look like. Businesses talking about it, community talking about it. So it's taken years. I'm glad we got ahead of it. But I think our community is really going to embrace the Route 66 Centennial, certainly America's 250th. And I think we're really going to show off our community.
I love it. I love it. I would love, in addition to this conversation, which I'm really enjoying, and again, I keep kicking myself in the butt for that train ride was not that long, but I'm going to make it there. I'm going to make it to Springfield. However, I would love if you would, Scott, indulge us with a tour of the website so you can share a little bit of what folks who are going to perhaps have Springfield on their travel plans, what they can expect and start planning their itinerary. So you up for taking us on a tour?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So what I'm going to do is get to the website. I thought I had this queued up. Okay, Springfield's up. I am sharing my screen now. There it. All right, miracle of technology. We should be seeing.
I like it.
Is it Springfield? All right.
It's festive for sure. I tell you, our marketing and data coordinator really does such a nice job with our website. And I love that photo. That's Union Square Park, Union Station. That
This is good.
tower was refurbished, but that's the tower. Again, it wasn't recreated. That's the location that Union Station was at. And it's an incredible building, by the way, and the grounds are amazing.
I can imagine. Yeah, I would. By the way, I'd love to have that photo too. We'll include those in the part of our banners in the show notes, and that'd be
Great,
great. So,
great.
so you got to visit Springfield. Click to submit your photos. I love that. So, where should we go?
Yeah. So, I mean, let's start with play. Let's just start to the left and we can take a
Okay.
look at that. And so here is where you'll see it's easy to navigate. You've got sights and attractions, arts and entertainment. There's your outdoor, right? Your recreation. So we include that outdoor segment in there. Obviously shopping and our Explorer Passport, which is a passport that's created. It has our Abe's Hat Hunt, which is always fun, looking for the Abe's hats around our historic sites.
Mhm.
And then when you flip it around, it's Route 66, and you get a chance to meet our Route 66 legends. And these are our living legends that you'll catch on location, like a Josh Waldmeyer at the Cozy Dog or a Ron Metzger at Motorhead Bar Grill and
Okay.
Museum. And there's a place that you can have to get their signature. You can get a photo with them. So the living legend, the Explorer Passports, that's a video. So you may not want to click on that, but the Explorer Passport, you pick those up at the visitor center. It helps you navigate your way around and really see our top sites and attractions for Route 66 and obviously Abraham Lincoln.
Very nice.
And yeah. So you can kind of take a look there and there's you can electronic version there. And so,
Very good.
and then
I
of course,
love just the activity going on in these pictures. This is great.
And that's all user generated content. So those aren't our photos, they're photos from visitors that
Okay.
share the, yeah.
Very nice. Okay. Let's do the stay.
So certainly when you stay, we want you to stay. I mean, we're more than one day in Springfield. That's, by the way, Howard, one of the things we heard the most over the past 5-6 years is uh, travelers stopping by our visitor center. We always ask them, how long are you here? Because we want to customize their stay. And they're always said to us, wow, you've got so much. We wish we would have allocated some more time.
Mhm.
And we do. And people find out all the time. They get here and they thought, we thought Springfield was just a day stop. We thought it was a stop at the Lincoln Home, maybe the Lincoln Tomb, and we're out of here. And when they get here, they have a wow factor so we always recommend 1 to 2 days or more than one day. So this is where you can check out all of our hotels. If you want to stay in the downtown area, which is where our sites most of our sites are located, our historic sites, and they're all walkable. Certainly we give you a chance to do that. We know there's people that like to camp, so we provide campgrounds. And then certainly the Airbnb, the third party, we know a lot of people like to do that for a unique experience, if you will.
Sure. I love being able to stay in downtowns where I can just walk outside and there's history all around. And it's like when we were in Danville, which I had never been to, but we stayed at the hotels, but I mean, downtown Danville needed a nice hotel because there
Yeah.
was so much right around that area. But that's what I would do if I was in Springfield, is just take advantage of the downtown area.
Yeah, absolutely. You could do
All
that.
right. Let's come to eat and drink towards the end. So we've got events going on here.
So we have our ongoing events, which are events that happen ongoing throughout the year. And then
Okay.
upcoming events are mostly just one-time events that happen during a certain month.
Okay.
So we have you on there you go, your upcoming.
Okay.
The
Now, is
number,
there an event in the time ugly sweater? Okay, I'm sure that one's a good one. Everybody's got an ugly sweater. Is there an event that, since you have been in Springfield for so long, is there an event that like every year I'm there?
it's hard to choose one. I mean, from when we start out in the early spring with the Lincoln Presidential Half Marathon, we welcome 1,500 runners from 30 different states to run where Lincoln walked. It's pretty cool. But moving on, like the 5K in May as well. That's a tremendous event. And then we move into our History Comes Alive. Certainly,
Okay.
National Route 66 Mother Road Festival. We have a Carillon Festival, so it's hard to pick one.
Oh.
But I will tell you that there are about 300 events every single year.
Okay.
So the events are happening every month, and you just have to go to this page to take a look at what interests you.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Now we can do some planning. Visitor center, visitor guide, e-new sign up, visitor map. So you have
Yep.
everything anybody needs just to take advantage of what they're going to do when they spend 2 or 3 days in Springfield.
Yeah, this is our logistics page. So, we want to be sure that we know people have phones and we know they have apps and what have you, but this is really our logistics page where we show you how to get around, and you need to.
Okay. And we got sports. Looks
That's
like
it.
we've got
Yeah.
blogs and media. Let's see what we've got.
So that's our new Shield Sports Park. So
Okay.
that's a new tab for us because we've got, as you can see here, the world's largest sports air structure
Okay.
was built, and the outdoor fields open in spring of 26. And again, it's an over $75 million project.
Oh,
So
wow.
so excited to have all of these families, but for the Shield Sports Park, may not visit Springfield, not because they're not into culture or history. It's because they're busy playing sports.
Right.
So now we're giving them a reason that we'll give you the facilities to come in. And then when you're off the field, you can have that legendary experience with our historic sites. We think it's a solid, really 1-2 punch.
Excellent. Excellent. Looks like you've got some NASCAR racing going on too.
Yeah, so that's the Illinois State Fairgrounds, the world's fastest dirt mile. is at
Okay.
the State Fairgrounds. So yes, you can see here, whether it's ARCA cars or it's the Springfield Mile during Labor
Okay.
Day weekend, the
Okay.
fastest mile in the world.
Excellent. Excellent. And then we've got some blogs and media. So you got the tourism. You got a tourism academy. I've come across a number of destinations that they're actually teaching classes to, like your ambassadors, the folks, the retirees, the even the people who are still working, but they want to spend just a day a week giving walking tours or being that roving ambassador. I love the fact you're doing that.
Yeah, and our blog tab as well. The blogs you can go in there and you can see what's happening with the holidays. You can, Mike Reifler, our data coordinator, does an amazing job with these blogs. So spend a little more time. You can see holiday fun. Shout out to our veterans. 25 things to do in Springfield. 5 new things in 25. So that was earlier this year.
Mhm.
But Mike does a great job. He updates them all the time. So it's one of those things to check out on your way here
Yeah.
as you're traveling.
Do you happen to know if anybody's written a book? There's a series called 100 Things to Do in the Location Before You Die, but it seems like Springfield would be perfect for having their own book.
Well, we are in one of those books.
Okay.
Yes, and there is one that has us. As a matter of fact, the fairgrounds has the front cover of that book. It's
Okay.
100 things to do in Illinois, maybe before you die. So yes,
Okay. All right.
we could do 100 just for Springfield. I'm with you, Howard.
Well, I have a good friend. She's a member of the Outdoor Writers Association of America, of which I'm a member of, that has written, I think, well, no, let me rephrase this. I know a couple of members who have written 100 Things to Do in Before You Die books. And so I could certainly put, put you in touch with a couple of them that could write that book, because it seems like you ought to have one.
No, absolutely. I think it's a great idea, especially as we
Okay.
get past 2026 and we look at new projects to do.
There you
Uh,
go. There you go.
you know, I
All
think
right. And then we've got the touring. You're on the social sites, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest. Excellent. And, oh, let's do the most important thing for me. I need my coffee in the morning.
oh,
Uh,
absolutely. Well, yeah,
so
drink local. And I want to highlight our signature horseshoe sandwich. It's unique to Springfield, Illinois.
uh,
And you got to take a look. We have a new horseshoe trail. You can test out the different horseshoes. And I think you'll pull up a picture here that people are, what is a horseshoe?
I'm like asking myself this question right now. Okay, chili. I gotta have chili.
So it
Oh,
originated at the Leland Hotel in
okay.
Springfield. And
Um.
it's on a hot plate
Okay.
and there's a protein usually and
Yeah.
hamburger, ham or different proteins underneath, French fries drizzled in cheese sauce.
Okay, Scott, you got to help me out. I want to find the picture of this sandwich. How am I going to get to it?
Oh, I think if you go down just a bit, oh, there, you had it right there. That, yes.
Okay.
You may not be able to click on that.
All right. All right.
That's what it,
Well, we
yeah.
got to have a picture that you're going to send me. I want to see that thing.
Oh,
Oh,
here's
there you
some.
go.
There we
Okay.
go. So these
Now we're
are,
talking.
yeah, these are user generated.
Oh, wow. I, I, I'm watching. I got to watch my diet like a hawk. That's the downside of getting older. But I
Yeah.
will make an exception for that sandwich.
You need to. Well, what you can do, Howard, is if you don't do the horseshoe, you can have a pony shoe, and that's half of it.
That's like
And
asking somebody, do you want a cocktail or do you want a Shirley Temple? I don't do, no, I can't do that. I'll take the hit for the team. Okay.
and there's
Oh,
so many different variations now to the horseshoe. Again, our horseshoe trail can spell it out, and you can see all the
okay.
locations there on the map. And so we
Uh,
make it easy to find a horseshoe. And if you have your first horseshoe, you got to have it right here in Springfield.
I will make a point of that. So when I get to Springfield, now where am I going to get a good cup of coffee, by the way? That's important.
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, it's downtown. Custom Cup is one place that I would go to in a minute. Grab a Java is another kind of place you can stop. I think
Okay.
is it. Yeah, you're on the right track here.
Okay. Custom cup. Okay. I like the fact that you are alphabetical here. This is good for somebody like me.
Yes,
Uh,
we went back and forth on that, and we think that that's the place that it should go.
there we go. Custom
There you
cups.
go, right there. There it is.
Excellent. That was the best thing about Danville is I saw they had I forgot what the name of the coffee shop is there. They roast their own, but I was looking for like a bag of coffee that because I bring my it's not around here some I've got an AeroPress that I
Oh yeah,
always bring my coffee with me. So knowing that there's a good coffee shop and roaster in town, I go support local but have good coffee in the hotel.
yeah,
Very
absolutely.
nice.
So we have an abundance of local coffee shops, and you can take your pick.
Excellent.
Find a good cup of coffee at any of the local shops.
Yeah, excellent. Well, this is great. Thank you for taking us on this tour. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Well, before I stop, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Well, I will say that tour tab, and you don't need to go to it necessarily, but I just that tour tab, you just hover over it. Our youth group tours, we host 2,000 student group tours a year. We host hundreds of adult group tours that come through every single year. So if you're thinking about a group tour, especially adult group tour, Springfield is a great place to tour. Easy to maneuver, very accessible, very affordable.
Mhm.
Building it. So if you're thinking about a group tour, Illinois is a great place.
Excellent. I love it. Okay, so miracle of technology. I'm going to get back to just you and I. There you are. See me, and we're good to go. So thank you for this tour, but I do have a question. When you have friends and family who are out of town come in to Springfield, what's a 1 day itinerary like when you're just taking your friends and family around? How are you going to start the day, and how are you going to how are you going to end the day?
Yeah, well, I've done this plenty of times, that's for sure. So,
I knew that you were going to say that, but go ahead.
some of them have different interests, but normally we'll start with the historic sites, and I like to start at the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum and Library because that gives you a big picture, right, of Lincoln, not only as president, but the father, the friend, the lawyer, and you go through there. It's immersive. You could spend 8 hours in there. You can spend 2 hours. I generally recommend 2 hours inside the museum, and you start there and you kind of learn about Lincoln, remind yourself of some things, really immerse yourself, and then when you walk out, just a few blocks down is Lincoln's home, the only home he ever owned. And that's the home. So you've learned about him. Now you're going to a site and walking the streets or the path that Lincoln walked back and forth from his home to his lofts. And you can hit these sites walkable, very accessible downtown. So you go to his home, you go to the neighborhood, you immerse yourself there. You go to the old state capitol, stop by the Lincoln Herndon offices, if you will. And by the way, our capitol is gorgeous, and it's going through a $300 million renovation. So I think by the time most of our travelers get here next year, they'll see our new capitol, if you will, completely renovated. But it would stop there. We would stop by Union Square Park. We would make another visit, or we would go to the Tomb for sure, which is just a short drive. It's less than 10 minutes away from downtown
Mhm.
area, and start hitting those sites. We would, catch all the murals downtown at Kidseum. There's a Route 66 migration mural that's just unbelievable. I think I showed you a background of that earlier, and it's really cool. And then we'll turn on 66, and we'll take them out to the Illinois State Fairgrounds Route 66 experience. Stop by Shays gas station, grab a Made Right. For sure, that's a loose meat hamburger. If for the listeners out there who wonder what a Made Right is, yeah, right.
Okay.
Stop by Cozy Dog, Route History, and do the entire Route 66 strip, and then end the day at Motorhead's Bar Grill and Museum with the beer and all the neon and all the collectibles that Ron Metzger has put out at Motorhead's for the past 8 years, and things he's collected for 40 years. And you can just sit out there and watch. I mean, there's a 69 Camaro on the rafters
Oh
that
wow.
you can sit under. So as you're enjoying a meal or a beverage, you can look up and you're underneath the 69 Camaro. So it's things like that. So I tie in the link in the Route 66 um, with my family and friends.
Very nice, very nice. Well, I'm sure they are very happy to have their guide. And speaking of guides, when you're busy having to attend a city council meeting or a special meeting of the mayor or the governor, I imagine you've got quite a staff that supports you in getting the word out there and is helping to take care of the visitors' experience. So why don't you give a shout out to some of the folks that are making it happen for you?
Yeah, absolutely. The Visit Springfield team, we have about 150 years of combined tourism experience. I've got the leadership team behind me. Amy Beadle, our marketing manager, has over 30 years. Terry Truman in our sales department, leading the sales efforts, has over 30 years. Darren Thurman, our tourism manager, that does all of our uh, History Comes Alive programming, all of our media influencers, him and Angela. Darren's got over 20 years experience as well. And then our services department has over 20 years. So very fortunate to have a team of experts behind me when I need to be doing that city role, if
Hmm.
you will. But I just let them do what they always dream about doing. And most of the time, I tell you, I take a look at what their departments are doing, and they're working in sync, and they're just really passionate about what they do. And I take like I'm in awe. I look at Darren's History Come Alive programming, and the 10 weeks that he puts on, and I just look back at it and I said, wow, this is somebody that not only knows the industry, but knows what the traveler is looking for. So yes, very fortunate to have a team of true travel professionals.
Excellent, excellent. So I've got a question. As you kind of look back on your career, and I'm sure there's not just one, but many, but is there an aha moment that you've had when you look back and say, wow, I really get to do what I do? And this is amazing.
I've enjoyed each aspect, and as they've come along, I really did enjoy hotel operations. The number of travelers that you get to see on an annual basis was amazing. And I was in my 20s at the time, and so grinding out the 24/7, 365 didn't really hurt me much. But when I moved on to the lodging association side, and I got to travel the state and meet with our 500 hotel members and our dozens of DMOs
Mhm.
and our travel industry, and I really got to make connections there. That was always fun. But then the opportunity to run a destination marketing organization in a city, mind you, that I had spent at the time, what, almost over 20 years in, um, really made me think, wow, I'm a lucky guy to be able to talk about this great city that I've lived in, promote the city as a destination, and really welcome not only all the domestic but the international traveler. That even caught me by surprise living here for at the time over 20 years and almost 30 years. Is that the number of international travelers that uh, visit Springfield every single year? That caught me by surprise. I didn't think it was that many countries, but they continue to recognize our cultural history. And so, yes, I don't know if there's one, but certainly, I do pinch myself in the morning and say, I'm pretty lucky to be in this role.
I love it. And I would have to add, just given your background, your expertise, you are uniquely qualified because not I've come across many that grow up in the community and they're starting out their careers, but I mean you've spent 30 years, that's pretty significant and you get to do something that's just a lot of fun. And again, I'm envious of that. But I like what I do, but just making people happy when they come out and enjoy themselves. They're on vacation, they're spending money, having a good time, but they're getting history that's been made and history that's still being made. And it's what a great experience for you and your team for that matter. Before we head out, any final thoughts? Sometimes I will ask my guests what's their insight to go that you'd want to leave with our listeners, but I think you've kind of described a lot of it. But uh, what's the besides the website, is there a book, a movie, a quote that just kind of encapsulates for you when you're talking to potential visitors, groups about coming to Springfield, what would you say to them?
Well, as far as the quote I always go back to here in Springfield is when President Lincoln was leaving for the White House in 1861. He said, "To this place and the kindness of these people, I owe everything." And I still think that resonates today. And I still think our travelers feel that warmth, that kindness, that friendliness when they visit Springfield. That's Midwesternness, if you will, that comes out. And so I think that really, from a quote standpoint, it's hard to beat that one all day long.
Excellent. Listen, Scott, before we do our final close, once again, for our listeners, if they would like to learn more about Springfield and everything it has to offer, all the history, where are the best places to go?
So you'll want to go to our website, visit springfieldillinois.com. Our social media channels at Visit Springfield. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest as well, and YouTube.
Okay.
So just check out Visit Springfield at any of those channels and follow us. We'd love to have you follow along and see what we're up to.
Excellent. And hopefully the folks will want to follow along in 2026 because there's a lot happening. Scott, it's been a pleasure to have you finally on the podcast. And it was great to meet you back in Danville earlier in the year. And I'm so glad you had the time to spend with me and our listeners on the Outdoor Adventure Series. So thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Happy holidays and Happy New Year.
All right. Listen, stay in the line. We're going to do a quick close and you and I can have a final chat. All right, folks, what a wonderful episode. And I'm telling you, if you haven't planned your 2026 itinerary yet, Springfield, Illinois is the place to be down in central Illinois. What a wonderful community. As Scott had shared in their tagline, always legendary, so much is going on between the history of Springfield and Abraham Lincoln, and his as a country lawyer, and just his law office, and just really his home, the library, the tomb, everything that it has to offer. The Route 66 100th anniversary, it's going right through the city of Springfield and beyond. A lot of iconic experiences while you're here, as well as America 250 is taking place, and there's going to be some happenings there as well. So definitely plan a couple days here in Springfield and take advantage of everything it has to offer. And again, Scott took us on a great tour of the website. Visit springfieldillinois.com. And they're on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. We got them on YouTube as well. And we're going to provide all those show notes, all those links in our show notes. And of course, you can find this episode, including the video of the tour that Scott took us on our website. The outdooradventureseries.com is where you can find really everything. But we are also on Facebook and in LinkedIn. We have our Outdoor Adventure Series pages. We have our YouTube page, Outdoor Adventure Series. And of course, when you get to Springfield and you're just walking around, you need to listen to a podcast or two, you can just look for us in any of your favorite podcast directories. Just do a search for Outdoor Adventure Series. We love likes, comments, and sharing. Okay, folks, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there and have a fantastic day. Enjoy the rest of 2025. Have a wonderful new year. This is actually our final episode for 2025. And what a great way to end it with a great interview with Scott Dahl, the director of Visit Springfield. Until next time, take care, and we'll see you in 2026. Bye now.